One, two, three. Welcome, everybody, to Security Guy TV, securityguydetv.com, a special follow-up edition of our Black Hat interview in Las Vegas because my friend Mr. Scott Gordon couldn't make it a Black Hat. We're bringing him back in. He's with RiskIQ.com, the Chief Marketing Officer. Welcome, Scott. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invite. Great to be here.
Now, tell us, in essence, what RiskIQ does. I know it has to do with digital threat management. But give us an overview of what you guys do specifically.
Sure. So digital threats, when you hear phishing, malware, malvertising, all of those things are actual digital threats. So when we refer to digital, it's web, social, and mobile threats that are external or outside your firewall. And so today, according to the Verizon Data Breach Report, 75% of breaches are due to external threat actors. And so we're all about digital defense.
Now, that number, 75%, is interesting to me. In the physical world where I used to work, physical security, 85% of theft is employee-related. So I've also heard reports that say a lot of these breaches are because of internal, bad choices that employees make, right? I bring your own device, I bring my cell phone, I bring it home to use it for work, and I expose the company to a risk. If we're using your own device and that sort of thing, is that categorizing that risk as external, even though it happened on an employee device?
Well, this is really more, I think people have gotten sound bites on internal threats because of Snowden. And certainly information security is about protecting from the firewall in. So companies, enterprises have made a lot of investments behind the firewall, protecting data and their systems and connections. But if you look at the type of attacks that are going on now, business is really going through a digital transformation. So everybody's investing in web, social, and mobile activities to get their product stickier, to get better engagement with their customers, and also to better communicate with their customers, their employees, their partners. And so as a company, if I'm an attacker, I no longer have to try to get through the firewall or try to go lateral movement per se inside an infrastructure. Actually, the soft target now is really leveraging all the web, social, and mobile means that businesses have taken on to actually do impersonation and do malicious mobile apps, really go after customers and employees from outside the firewall with the idea of taking their credentials, taking their sensitive information. And so it's a whole new area of threat that corporations are investing in.
Now, one thing I was really...
The threat has moved. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off there, Scott. One thing I was impressed with at Black Hat is how many startups I discovered that came on the show, and some venture capitalist people also came on the show to talk about how that startup business works. And you guys are a really fast-growing startup. Talk about how many companies are in this startup space and what RiskIQ specifically provides to a customer in this field, because there's a lot of vertical markets, but you have a real specific niche.
Well, that's one of the things that attracted me to RiskIQ. So there are hundreds, if not thousands, of information security companies, not just in the U.S., but globally. And Black Hat certainly gives a litmus on just how big and how active this industry is. So specifically what we're doing is we're allowing an organization, an enterprise that typically would have visibility and control over assets and activity on their network and in their infrastructure, and giving that visibility, that unified visibility and control over assets that are web assets, mobile, and social assets that are typically outside the purview or control of IT. So this would be websites and external-facing assets, internet-facing assets, web components, web assets, web applications, affiliate websites. It also can be websites that are posing as an organization in order to get their business. It also is companies that are sending email.
Oh, we lost you for 1 second there, Scott. Let's hope Scott comes back. Sometimes the technology exceeds our ability to transmit. Come on, Scott. Come on back. I know he's going to make it. There he is. Scott, you cut out there for a second. I'm sorry about that.
Sure.
Not sure where we left off, but one thing I was wondering is about this IDG report. They just published a survey on the state of digital threat defense. Can you give the audience an idea of what these external threats are? I mean, it's there's so much of it, but hit on a bunch of them for us.
Sure. So if we look at a big threat that companies are dealing with. In fact, I think in the report, 75% of organizations of the respondents, and there were about 465 enterprise organizations that responded to this survey, 75% have experienced a phishing attack. In fact, 5 or more of significance, meaning it had a significant impact on their organization. So a phishing attack, which most people think of an email, you get an email from a company that you trust, or seemingly from your own IT organization, your HR organization, and it's asking you for information about yourself, or it's asking you for access credentials. And so unless you really take the time and effort to examine, okay, where's the origination of this email? I can put in sensitive information, or I can click on something that takes me to a website that I think looks exactly like where it's supposed to go, but in essence, it's really taking me to a malicious site or obtaining data from me and giving it to a threat actor, or it's putting some malware on my system. So that's phishing, and most companies are looking at phishing from an email perspective, but phishing is also moving across all the digital channels. So you have phishing on mobile apps, and you think you're using a mobile app that's affiliated with your bank, but it's not, or you are looking at an online social post that you think is coming from a trusted source, but it's not. So this is some of the activity that we're able to track and understand, and actually inform an enterprise that they are actually being attacked. And we provide that takes a lot of automation. And part of that automation not only helps them get to a faster answer of yes or no, this is a bad thing, and then to be able to respond to actually take down that threat actor. So for example, in phishing, we can actually inform Google or Microsoft that, hey, this IP address is a bad site, or we can inform a mobile app store that they should take down this mobile app because it's actually a malicious app or it's infringing on a company's IP.
Now, I like this idea, and when we're done, I want you to call Facebook for me and tell them, listen, Chuck keeps getting this post that says, oh, these people have viewed my Facebook page, and I don't know who this girl is. And I did not post that thing. And I went in, I turned off all those connections to, meow.com and all those stupid survey things they do on Facebook.
Sure.
I cannot get rid of this one post. I don't know who's posting it. I don't know how they get in there and do it. These are some real challenges, and I'm sure that's a somehow malicious site in the sense that it's probably grabbing my Facebook friends, because I have like 1,300 of them or something. They're probably marketing to them. So it's malicious in a capitalistic way, which is not the worst thing in the world, but it could also be more dangerous. So I like this idea that you are working with these giant enterprises to say, you guys think this is a legitimate vendor, a legitimate mobile app that you approve, but it's really malicious. That seems unique to me in the business. Is it kind of a vertical market that you are kind of first in that space?
We do have a first mover advantage. There are competitors. I think what gives us an advantage is usually organizations, when they consider a platform, they want to get economies of scale for their employees. They want to be able to use less tools, not a whole bunch of different tools that cover different threats on different channels. So what makes us a little unique is that we are actually covering web, social, and mobile. And not only are we gathering intelligence and making that intelligence available to the enterprise, but we also package access to this information in a way that different parts of the security organization really use it. So threat investigators have certain things that they want and have interest to them. Those that are defending their attack surface, which is your compliance, your blue team, your GRC team, they have certain attributes and responsibilities that they want and duties they want to execute on. And then you also have the SOC team to know what's attacking me, how fast can I triage to get to a correct information, then how do I respond? So what makes this difference is a package that covers multiple use cases and then also covers multiple channels of threat outside the firewall.
So let's talk about the RiskIQ threat intelligence. Tell me how you capture this data from the internet and capture it in the social and mobile data. And what does RiskIQ do with all that data? The reason I'm asking is I have this theory, which is probably misplaced because most things I say are incorrect, and we don't let facts get in the way here on SecurityGuideTV.com. But my concern is this: I know RiskIQ. I know a lot of these vendors I talk to capture all this data. They use it for internal analysis. Client uses it for analysis. But that crazy company that posts on my Facebook page, they're probably doing it to 1,000 other people. Some of them are probably your client. What if we could put that data up in a cloud and share it with everybody? We'd say, listen, out of these 500 Fortune 100 companies, there's this one bad actor that's trying to hack every one of them every single day. Let's all get up together and get that guy. I know confidentiality is involved. I know privacy is involved, but I'm just wondering, first, how does RiskIQ share that internally with their clients? And is there somehow, sharing with, I don't know how to describe it, non-confidential sharing, you know what I mean?
Sure. So what you bring up is a good point. In fact, there's a lot of collaboration in the industry.
Collaboration. That's the word I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, collaboration in the industry, sharing this information to say, okay, if so many organizations have identified a threat actor, let's inform each other, let's update each other's reputation services and have that propagate to different devices so that consumers and employees can be blocked from going to that and to try to shut that down. I think what makes us a little different is we've been doing this for quite some time. So essentially, we are using a variety of methods to get this information into our environment, and all the information we're getting is public. So it's exactly the same information that hackers use when they look to profile a potential target. They're using what's available information to them and then to try to exploit vulnerabilities and trust levels. So, for example, one of our technologies, we have a virtual user crawling technology. So, Chuck, it would be like your parents going online and typing at some IP addresses. We actually go through the entire IPv4 time and time again, looking at from different locations, different countries, different browsers, different networks, cable networks, business networks. We're touching all the IPs. We're recording the information. We're recording what's underneath the browser. So we're getting information about certificates and forms. We're getting information of where we're redirected to. All this information is brought in. On top of that, we have relationships with over 7 of the largest social networks. We also monitor over 20,000 web app stores. So people think that that's just a web app for Apple and Google, but there are hundreds upon hundreds of web app stores and thousands of web applications. We're bringing this all in. We cross-correlate this. We actually apply some advanced analytics so that we're able to get derived information, which means we're able to say, we see this, we see this, we see this. This now we're going to classify as a scam or a known phisher or a known attacker. And then all this information again is presented to our customers. And what's nice is that customers now, normally they would have to use multiple devices to try to get it, multiple applications and different data sets to try to do the same analysis. And you can't really do that in an efficient way. So we're able to get this all together. But you mentioned a bit about collaboration. And how could all this information be used to take down the threat actors faster? And in fact, there are definitely organizations and protocols that are available to companies and to security vendors, and where we do collaborate and we do send information. For example, IBM X Force. That's one way to bring in information to say, okay, this is a threat actor. Microsoft has their reputation service. Google has their reputation service. And in fact, Risk IQ, when we get a known threat actor, we can actually send that information to, for example, Google and Microsoft. They can bring that into their system, and within a matter of minutes, it actually gets propagated to other devices and even to your browser, so that you no longer have to face that external threat.
Well, wow, I'm very impressed. Every show I do, at the end I say, do I feel better or worse than when I started the interview? And so far, I feel much better. I feel that there's some...
Exactly.
Yeah, we're in capable hands here. Now, tell me what this looks like. How is it packaged? I'm always a big proponent to make these things easy for the average low-level user, because we can always reach the high-level user, but we have to start pushing this down to a guard at a desk at a corporation that at 3 o'clock in the morning, he could be the first responder to some major thing. He may have to go into the server room and shut everything down. I mean, that's extreme, but it could happen. So what does your data feed look like? You know, can this be used by security analysts, investigators, incident response people, law enforcement? How does that, I guess you call it a graphic user interface, look and function to people?
So when we're talking about our packaging, again, for us, we have 3 solutions. So I'll just talk about the threat investigator. So this is your incident response person, and these are security analysts. So our product typically is sold to organizations that have pretty substantive investments and resources. So, for example, 17 of the top 24 banks in the United States use our solution, and we're a SaaS-based solution. So instantly you can log in and get access to our information. But what's designed to do is actually for threat investigation, you can type some artifact, some element of either something that's suspicious or an event or a exploit, and we're going to serve up all the information we know about that attacker, about that exploit, about that IP address that is unknown, and allow the analyst to search and query more to really find out as much information as possible about that possible attack, that attacker, that malicious site, and get to the answer very fast. So that's something that even law enforcement uses today. They use our product. And in fact, our products, our entry-level products, are available for free use. You can just go to our website, riskiq.com. You'll see a login page, and you can actually access our community edition products for free. But that's one of our products, which is a threat investigation tool. We certainly have other products, such as one that is all about an organization's digital attack surface.
Well, this is fascinating. I understand the research from Forrester named riskiq.com as a market leader. And you kind of hinted that 17 of the top banks in the United States are using you. What other industries are using RiskIQ? And is this really just for large organizations, or can, medium-sized business get into that? It sounds like with the free offering that a smaller business could start to look at using you.
That's right. So this issue really spans financial services, insurance, which is insurance, banking, certainly healthcare, e-commerce and retail, manufacturing. It's really a wide, broad industry problem. In fact, in that IDG research report that you had mentioned, they asked again, cross industry, how confident are you that your organization is prepared to manage digital threats? And 70% cited as no to modest confidence. So it's really the external threat issue is very impactful. But what was a little more alarming was that 68% actually felt little to no confidence to reduce their digital attack surface, and that attack surface is what's most exposed for an organization where it could result into a breach.
68%. That does not sound good. That's amazing. Now, I got one final question for you. What keeps Scott Gordon awake at night? What do you worry about in the cyber world? Oh, I guess that question was too difficult because he just disappeared off my screen. Scott, come on back now. These technical things always happen. There you go. You're back. I'm sorry. Did you hear my last question?
You said you had commented on the 68%, which is alarming. It's on the more pessimistic side of why there's a need for this.
Yeah. So my last question is, what keeps Scott Gordon awake? What worries you in the digital world? Oh, I guess that's a very difficult question because he just cut out again. maybe I shouldn't ask that question. All right, Scott. Looks like our bandwidth is Google's mad at us for using too much bandwidth, I think. We'll try one more time. What keeps you awake at night? What do you worry about? That's our last question.
I think what keeps me awake at night is really looking at the growth of these threats. And if you look at the confidence ratio, we were talking before, and I know you worked, you definitely had physical security, and you talked about that guard. So if I went to the guard who was there, and he's at the perimeter, and I said, "How confident are you that thin wire gate can really prevent the threats that you're most concerned about?" And the guard said, "Well, I only have about I really have very modest confidence, almost no confidence that it could stop anything for real." In a digital world with dynamic threats, in a world where if I get my credentials taken from me and then provide unfettered access for an external threat attacker to go after my business, if I'm able to put up a fake web or have a website, a web application exploited, and I don't know about it because I don't even know it exists or where it exists, that's what would keep me up at night. Is essentially the dynamics of the web and the external threats are still out there, and IT is sort of in a catch.
Oh,
on a more efficient way.
We lost you there for the last second, but I think we got your pearls of wisdom in on the last minute there, Scott. Very interesting way to say it, interesting way to present it. It is true from the physical side of things. If the guard said, "I got an 80% confidence in that gate," that's not good enough. It's a brilliant way to say it in the IT world. You got to be at 110% to allow for a 10% mistake. So, Scott, I feel much more confident now that the world's a safer place because of riskiq.com. Thanks for coming on Security Guy TV. And everybody, make sure you follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the place. And watch for Scott's show on livestream.com, which you can find at securityguytv.com. And we're also going to put him inside the Black Hat shows as well. So, Scott, thanks for coming on Security Guy TV. It's been a great show. Thanks everybody for tuning in.